Hey guys, Kevin here from Blipmatch, and today I wanted to bring you a playthrough video of the Loyal Vigil expansion for the Netherwatch board game, which is a 1 to 4 player horror investigation board game. If you've been following along on the channel, you'll probably have seen that since January I had the opportunity to review the prototype of this game. So I have 2 review videos, one for the base game and one for the expansion, and then I also have a components overview for both. Now, I never did a playthrough video of the base game, because I figured Jonathan from Mariucci J Designs, who are the creators of the game, he has a video on his channel, Explore It. If you're wondering why it's called Explore It, it's because their main game that they make is the Explore It series of board games. So this is their first time going out into something outside of that series, and they've done an awesome job so far. So if you haven't checked any of that out, check it out. Jonathan has a great video of a setup and a playthrough of the base game, which is played on the mansion layout. This is Loyal Vigil, so you're actually playing on a different layout, and it's a randomly generated map, which is what I think is so cool about this expansion. So yes, it's an expansion. You do get extra content that you can use in the base game, but it also changes the way you play the game if you play this module, which I find is really great. So in this case, we have the starting map, which is designated by this setup card. So I love the way that they've done this in Netherwatch. You get a setup card, which shows you exactly what you need to place on the board, whether you're playing the base game or the expansion. There's 6 different scenarios in each. And then on the other side, you have the specifics for the scenario as you're playing, but set up on one side, specifics on the other. Makes it very easy to set things up. So in this case, I just basically read through this, and I'll give you guys a little bit of an overview of what it is. So this one here is called the Coffin Rock Campground. It's got a little bit of a site description. I'll read you guys that in the beginning of the gameplay video. But essentially, it tells you what you got to do and how to set up the map. So in this case, we find the entrance tile, which is this is the main tile. So it's the only one that has 4 of them together. The other types of tiles are either singles or doubles. This case, it's 4, and that's the starting tile. There's one scenario that I know of that starts without this starting tile. All the other ones pretty much start with it. Then it tells us to add the dirt trail on the side. So this is basically a tile that expands the map. It's from this exploration tile deck. It's not a special one. It's from here. It tells you to grab that one and you add it here and you connect it to the trailhead. So that means that it's now created a path where you can walk off the trailhead down this dirt trail. So other setup things that are on this main tile, you have this 1 and this 2. These correspond to down here. I know it's a little hard to see because I run out of real estate on my desk here because I'm trying to keep room for this map because I know it's going to sprawl. But basically, you have these dropped item slots. You get 4 of them. In this case, there's an item in slot 1 and one slot 2. So if there's no items in a slot, so in this case, like slot 3, slot 4, they don't have anything under here, they're not on the board. But the minute you have an item, there needs to be an icon like this on the board to show you where those items are. So in this case, for number 1, we have bear spray. So that's sitting on the ground there. I'll read you guys what it does when we're playing. And you also have the ranger's keyring, which is in the number 2. Now, this here is the rift. So you have 8 possible rifts in the game. They're not really different one from the other than some of them have different effects if they're based on the scenario or otherwise. But as far as rifts are concerned, they're very generic. They're just numbered 1 to 8. This one here starts as a number 1. So it's actually painted onto this board because it's always there. So that's where the number 1 rift is. And on this side here, we have what's called a cover token. So normally cover tokens are like this. You don't know what they are. When you end your turn, or end your movement, I should say, in that zone, you will reveal what it is. In this case, it is already revealed because that's what the scenario is asking us to do. It's saying put a safe cover hidden token here. Now, on the dirt trail, you've got a scavenge token. So you start with that in this scenario, and then you also have a hazard token. Scavenge token means there's a scavenged item sitting in this tile. So we can go grab that. The hazard token, though, is something that's generally going to be bad. Now, some hazards based on here, so this is something that's new to Loyal Vigil as well. You have this hazard reference. Again, guys, if there's something here you're not sure about and you want a little more in-depth information, if you go check out my components video, I talk a little more in-depth about what they all do and the differences between the base game and this one. But to give a high-level overview, these are essentially bad things like fear or anxiety, something unstable, an obstacle. There are things that are in the zone that are not necessarily good. Now, some of them have a beneficial effect along with a not so good effect. Some of them are just plain bad. So you kind of hope that it's something going to be good, but you have no idea what it is until you actually get there. But it gets revealed the minute you move through the tile, as opposed to like the cover, which is only revealed when you end your movement on that tile. So they're unique. The setup told us put one of these tiles here. Otherwise, that's how the base map is set up. From the rest of the scenario, I don't think there's anything that was different from there. I mean, we have our exploration tiles here, which are all random, and they're tied. Some of these are tied to some of the effects on this scenario at the back. So there are 4 exploration tiles that have special effects based on this scenario, and there are 4 special tiles that are special based on this scenario. So special tiles. And the only difference between the special tiles and the exploration tiles, other than the fact that they're larger, is that special tiles can only be connected to red exploration tiles. I won't reveal them because obviously these are mixed now, but you'll see that as I play, some of these are going to be red on the edges instead of blue, where they connect to other tiles. That will allow us to connect these special tiles. Now, it's very important here to know that one of the things that we have to reveal in this scenario is the ranger's office. And the ranger's office is in these special tiles. So I will actually be hunting for these red connectors on the exploration tiles, because that's one of the scenario conditions that we have to fulfill. But we'll get into that in the gameplay video. Otherwise, everything else is pretty much the same. You have some miscellaneous setup stuff, but that will happen during gameplay. So as you can see, the gameplay setup is actually pretty simple for the board. The mansion has a lot more because you've got 4 different, you've got the attic, the basement, the first floor, the second floor. This one here, you've just got this little starting area, but the map will expand as we play, which is the best part about this expansion, I find. On this side, you've got HQ. Character start HQ. What I did is I put, just because obviously these are standees, you guys won't be able to see them from the overhead cam. So what I did is I put the Doberman character has a blue base, so you'll be able to see where he is. And then you've got the tracker, you'll know where she is based on her green base. So I'll put them in the headquarters where they start. Then we have the Fate deck. Now, the Fate deck has 3 blue cards at the top. Then it has a whole bunch of red cards. The way that we mix these together, let me explain difficulty. So there are 2 different types of difficulty in this game. There's the scenario difficulty, which is based on the color on the top left of the scenario card. And there is the difficulty of the actual gameplay, which is sort of these 3 skulls. If you can see them, they're kind of small here, but they're really the same color. So green is the easiest. Yellow is the middle. It's kind of like a yellow-orange. And then red is the hardest. So both the scenario and the gameplay can be adjusted based on what you want. The scenario itself does not mean that the game is going to be easier just because it is a green scenario. So in this case, we are playing Coffin Rock Campground, and it is a green recon scenario. There's also, like, the yellow one is a containment scenario, and the red one is an extermination. The main difference for scenarios, yes, they will make the gameplay harder in a way, but only because there's a lot more things to track and a lot more things that can happen. So in a green recon scenario, there's just less moving parts, which means that you can focus on your objectives more easily without all these different things happening. So that's what makes the scenario difficulty. Now, when we're talking about gameplay difficulty, that's a whole different thing, because that is how difficult the demon will be. Because the demon can still kick your butt, even if you're on a green scenario, if it's on the red level, which is veteran. Green is initiate, and yellow, the middle difficulty, is operative. That's how difficult the game is to play and how brutal the demon is. On veteran, I'm telling you guys, it is painful sometimes to play. And painful in a good way, don't get me wrong. It's like super fun, but it's like one of those things where you're playing a game on hardcore mode because the demon jumps out, he's on you, and you're dead. That's it. Whereas the other modes are a little more forgiving. So today, I didn't want to give too easy of a gameplay video because I find that the initiate difficulty, while it's fun to start on to learn the game, it makes it a little easy. Like you have these blue cards here on the top of the Fate deck, and these are events, right, that happen and essentially is your timer for the game. So every turn, there will be a card like this played. The demon may manifest itself or it may just mess around with you and stay hidden. But either way, it's going to progress the game. When you're playing on the operative difficulty, you have 3 of these blue cards at the top. So you have 3 turns. The reason they're blue versus red is that the blue cards mean that the demon has zero chance of appearing on the board, which gives you time to breathe, right? If you're playing on veteran, there are no blue cards, which means the demon is a threat immediately. It could kill you on the first turn if you're unlucky. But when you're playing on initiate, there's 6 cards. And for me, having played the game several times, I just find it gives me too much time to get going. So I think operative is a good difficulty in the middle. And the other thing that I like is that the operative difficulty makes it a little harder where the demon, there's a real threat of actual death. Whereas on initiate, it's a lot harder to get killed. So we're going to find that balance, but I decided to take a green scenario because there's less moving parts and it'll be easier to sort of show the game and how it works without forgetting too many things and all that. Because yeah, I'll probably forget some stuff. Now, character-wise, we have the Doberman and we have the Tracker. Doberman is unique to this expansion, so you cannot play a canine agent in the base game. So I said I'll play a human agent and a canine agent to show you guys both. So this is like a 2-handed game. You can play true solo. The only problem with true solo is that if you're playing Loyal Vigil, you can't play a canine agent on that mode because there must always be at least one human agent. And it has to do with how the logic puzzles are played in the game. The canines can't play the logic puzzles. They can assist the human agents in doing them, but they can't actually initiate them themselves. So that's why you have and complete them themselves, which means that you're going to need to play at least one human agent. So in this case, it shows you guys both. The items here are based on the setup of the character. So in this case, the Doberman starts with the emergency beacon and the Vanguard collar. The Tracker starts with the etheric field reader and the animus detector. Now, the reason why I didn't take, I should say down here, we've got additional items. I'm sorry that you can't really see the bottom table, but it's just I'm planning for this to sprawl out like crazy. So I just wanted to give myself enough room. But basically, there are 3 slots down here. The human agents do start with items in these slots, and they're called initial items, which you can pick. Now, in this one, I took 2 items that are pretty unique to this expansion. It's the dog whistle and the chant of renewal. Chant of Renewal is unique because it's something that wasn't in the base game, which I think is really cool. I'll explain to you guys in the gameplay video what it does. The dog whistle allows you to actually move the canine agent, which I thought was really neat. And you don't really get to play that with that item if you're playing all human agents. You can use it. There's like a way where you can move human agents, but it's only in very specific cases. So I just thought it'd be neat to try that. Now, normally, I would have taken a flashlight or a shoulder lamp to give myself some light, but because I start with the etheric field reader for the Tracker and it has a light feature on it, I figured, well, I'll take my chances and start without a flashlight or a shoulder lamp. The downside is because they're initial items, they go back to the game box after you start, so you cannot essentially get those initial items into the game later. So you kind of start with what you have, and then that's it. Whereas all these other items here, essential items, HQ items, scavenge items, those will be getting throughout the game. So outside of that, you set your starting sanity. We set our unique ability. And the Doberman has a 7, so he's lower on the sanity track, but his abilities will make up for it. I'll explain to those as we play. And the tracker is in the mid-range here, starting at 8. Some characters actually start with 9. They're really awesome, but I find that they're balanced out by having passives and uniques that are not as good. So it's sort of a balance in that sense, because otherwise there really is no difference between the characters. The only other thing I would say is that the starting items can vary. Otherwise, there really isn't anything else. So that's pretty much how the setup works, guys. Just trying to think if there's something else I'm forgetting, but I don't think so. This is, oh yes, actually something very important. The Demon Vault. So there are 12 demons in this game, and there are 12 of these demon vaults. They're going to be tuck boxes, I believe, once the main game comes out. Again, this is a prototype, so a lot of these items that you're seeing in the game here are not the final version. But at least you get to see how they've developed, and this is the latest version of some of the cards and stuff, so we're at least going to be up to date on that. The Demon Vaults, the way they work is that you have a bunch of cards in here that are specific to a demon. You also have the puzzle pieces, the ones that tell you like the specific information on the demon. They're all in here, and they are unique to that demon specifically. So you basically don't get the boxes mixed up. You just you shuffle the boxes any way you want, and then you grab one and you have no idea what it is. Those cards from here will be mixed into this deck along with generic red cards, and some of them will be the demon influencing things that are happening, and some of them will be just randomness that would be in any game, but you have to kind of figure out which one is which. So it gives a really cool mechanic, because there's ways to find out how the demon behaves based on what's in this deck. So I think, guys, I'm going to stop the setup video here, because that's pretty much all it is. Now, for the gameplay, I will explain a lot more of what's going on in the scenario when we do that, but this is the main generic setup. Again, if you want to see how Netherwatch is set up, go check out Jonathan's video on the Explorer YouTube channel. But otherwise, I will see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching.